Silele kunjini lo pulista ngoma Ia ole Ia ole Silele kunjini.
We have often seen women decorate their African homes with triangles. Also seen adorning neck pieces that have a lot of beads in the shape of triangles. But in essence, do we have triangles in our African culture? And most of the time we call them chevrons. Today, joining me to unpack and understand what triangles are or what chevrons are is Ubaba Uphathi Sanyati. Welcome back to the show, Baba.
Thank you, Noma.
So the first important question is, what are these triangles that we see, or should I even call them triangles?
Yes, you are right to call them triangles because these are symbolic, they are representative, but we need right from the outset to establish exactly what we mean.
Okay.
And for that, I'll stand up so that I demonstrate.
Okay.
Now, what you are calling a triangle actually is this part.
Okay.
Not just part of a man. Yes, a man also has it, but it's essentially that part of a woman.
Okay.
Right. So, either you can perceive it as a triangle or as an open V, like this. It's the same. You can have that line, making it a triangle, isosceles triangle, or it is an open V. Right. But that we are going to call that triangle is a chevron icon 1.
Okay.
Chevron icon or chevron symbol. Because we need to move slowly but carefully so that we don't confuse the icon, the symbol, with the pattern. What people are familiar with, which I see on your neck, is now a pattern, which essentially is repetition of the icon. So from there, you move the next one. Then it becomes a chevron pattern. I still remember some student from the University of Pretoria struggling. He was writing about Great Zimbabwe, struggling whether this chevron pattern really is a unit or it's a one icon. It is. He was right, but he was very hesitant. Largely because he didn't know the inspiration, the motivation behind that. That is what was missing from this master's student. Now the question is, what is special about this part of a woman? So that this open V or triangle is in reality a fertility symbol. Okay. This is what is critical.
Okay.
It is a fertility symbol. Very functional. Now, why fertility? Fertility because when we come to this world in normal circumstances, we come via this part of a woman. What is there? What is there is a very important tissue, a very important organ in ensuring the continuity of the human species. Continuity or perpetuity of the human species. Endlessness in the human species. Immortality, eternity. It all happens here. And let us be clear about this. The African, long time ago, used to have what we term a matriarchy. And succession was it's a matriline. But that was lost largely as a result of two influences. but both coming from the same direction, the northeastern horn of Africa. The first to arrive was Christianity. And I still remember reading beautiful article, I think it was written by Dr. Tafataona Mahoso, and about this coup which was staged by the Judeo-Christian Levite, the House of Levite. It staged a powerful coup, which people may not appreciate. What we had as a matriarchy were goddesses. Africa had goddess. And then these were supported by priestesses. And as again eloquently expressed in that article, these would engage in the temples in sex, and sex was regarded as holy, as sacred before it was scandalized. But once these things had been changed, the goddess is pushed out, the priestesses are pushed out. What we then remain with is what we see today, which people may not appreciate. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Where is the mother of the Son? It's not mentioned. Where is the daughter? Not mentioned. Now it's the Father. That's a result of that historic coup. And we live by it. But some people won't even see that it's a coup which exists. For them, oh yeah, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But it's okay. They won't even talk about discrimination, gender issues. They don't introduce gender issues into that. It's normal because it's coming from the church. So that was the first influence. Then Africa began to migrate away from matriarchy. Then came Islam, not much different. Again, the role or place of women was minimized. But sometimes we underestimate African beliefs, this African worldview cosmology. Woman was very important. Today they talk about there now, look at what you are doing to women, you're oppressing them, marginalizing them. Yes, they taught us how to marginalize women. That's how it entered Africa. The ruler was, the key persons were female. Now you will see even in nature, I've cited this example. I observe nature and I've said there is no better teacher than nature. After mating, there are spiders. There are certain insects like close to praying mantis. After mating, the female turns around and devours the male. It's making a powerful statement. Mate, we have mated. Now, with you, it's all over. You may as well become protein for our children. Who grow in me? And it's that part. In the case of human beings, the growing individual grows within the uterus. Indoda iti kopi, finished. The rest is the woman. And Africa recognized that important role played by women. It was not an equal role. Women played a bigger role than men. No doubt about it. And so when you begin to look at these decorative symbols in Africa, they generally, especially in Central and Southern Africa, they are a representation, expression of the female. When you look at this shape, the V, the triangle, as I have already said, that is inspired by the body of woman. This is where that important characteristic of continuity. We are all here. Don't ask what our parents did. We know what they did. It's all through sexual reproduction.
Silele kunjini lo pulisa ngoma.
Okay, perhaps let's move ahead and look at the chevron at the cultural level. And we find the chevron, the zigzag. It may be repeated, it may be what, but you will see the pattern, that it is repetition, that there is balance, there is symmetry, that balance which will ensure the continued existence of the environment is embraced here, embraced within the circle, but we need to move from the circle to the chevron, and from the chevron to the circle.
Okay.
These are interrelated. What is contained within that triangle, that's what matters. What is there is what matters. And it is the womb. And that womb is circular. So what is being demarcated by the chevron motif is something that is circular. And you're going to see this. Some people, I'll refer to Great Zimbabwe. People may not explain why the chevron within the great enclosure, the chevron design occupies only a certain portion. Then I say, but did the builders die? Did they run short of stones? Did they become too lazy to go? No, that was deliberate. If you understand what that is, that circle is female.
Okay.
What is being represented is a womb. Then you will understand. And I've said, the chevron, that V, behind it or within it, there is the womb. Now, go back to the woman. The pelvic girdle, where it starts and ends. The womb is within that area. You go to Great Zimbabwe, that is what is represented at Great Zimbabwe. Okay. That part where the womb is. There are no chevron designs, this side or that side or the back, because the womb is not there. The chevrons that you find in Great Zimbabwe define where you find the womb. As long as you understand that the whole thing is a womb, and the womb has the chevrons depict, point to the place where it is. So it was deliberate to have the chevrons only where they have them. And I said, can we calculate, measure the distance from the end of this pelvic girdle there to the other end, get it in centimeters, then measure the entire circumference, express that part which has the chevrons or where the pelvic girdle is missing as a percentage of the entire circle or circumference. You will find what the ratio or proportion or percentage you find in Great Zimbabwe will be the same as that which you find in a woman. So that whole thing is to do with fertility. Because some of us believe it was to do with the circumcision. It's about an important stage in life, a stage that had to be celebrated. When you move from childhood to adulthood, when now you are also partaking in that exercise to bring forth people who are like you. We call them babies. They are like us. So that's what, but you only do that when you have matured biologically. And then for some people, there would be circumcision. We are not going to go into details of that Great Zimbabwe monument which I think, in my view, has been misinterpreted as far as the great enclosure is concerned. Because you're going to find this chevron. What does it mean? Some people will say snake, but surely a snake which can execute so acute an angle and leave, it doesn't make sense. Then secondly, in the pattern you are going to find these blobs. If you look at the old ZANU-PF material, we see less and less of it now. It will be that, and then there will be this, call it full stop or blob. So what is that outside a snake? It will not make sense. It just can't stand to scrutiny. And largely because the problem that we have is very simple for Africa now. Africa has been convinced and believed that Africa can no longer communicate with the past. That is where we have missed it. There are people who built great Zimbabwe. And people should know that those people will communicate with the living. And they will tell us the story of what happened. But we no longer believe it. But so when we say it is a fertility symbol, Africa has always known that. And I've said, please, let's not be confounded by the big, the colossity, if there's such a word, the bigness of Great Zimbabwe. What matters is how those stones were placed in space. And they form a circle. No difference with the Ndebele people, who didn't build Great Zimbabwe, by the way, who will use a palisade of wooden poles, circular. A Tonga man, because available material there is reeds, may make it out of reed. Whether it's Tonga, whether it's Ndebele, whether it's the people who built Great Zimbabwe, what they have in common is defining space in terms of the circular design, enclosing space within a circular design. But now let's get to the African and see how he has applied that. So it's fertility, but once again, what we are going to find are these chevrons on virtually all materials that he makes. Could be on skin, leather, on stone, on eggshells, on ivory, on wood. So you are going to find the chevron virtually everywhere, more than the circle. And yet the chevron actually is a depiction of the circle. We need to appreciate that a woman is not a flat screen, as it were. She has 3 dimensions. Okay. So what you are calling a chevron unit, which has this shape, is in actual fact a 2-dimensional representation of a 3D reality. Okay. So the woman, I said chevron, but in reality it's not a chevron, it's a cone, which is like this, 3D. But what is a cone? Then that's when I still remember very vividly, for many years I had been talking about the chevron. Then we were flying into Addis Ababa. I was alone. Reverend Tamasani was in the superior class. Then I started reflecting. That's when it dawned on me, 2 things dawned on me, that nature is organized into this circular design. That was one. Secondly, the thing that I'm calling chevron actually is a representation of a circle. So we move away from a 2D, that 2D for purposes of capturing that idea on artifacts and all our artifacts, and even the women who are painting their houses, they have these chevrons, and no point asking them what those chevrons mean. The chevron is beautiful, it's an expression of beauty. That's one. Secondly, it carries a meaning. The meaning over centuries, thousands and thousands of years, the meaning was lost. What remained and remains to this day is the beauty. But where is the beauty? That repetition, the balance, the symmetry. So that's what we have. You look at beadwork, like the one that you have. That beadwork is depicting that idea of the chevron, those triangles, that chevron is beautiful. But as the ladies who are donning that, they have no clue what that chevron design means. So that is the difference. So you are going to find the chevron design virtually on all, but we need to appreciate that our art came buoyed on functionality, on utility. We didn't have a canvas. The walls were our canvas. The skin was our canvas. Then the surface on something functional, the wall of a building. We know it provides privacy, keep out the elements, but once you have that surface, surely why not post the images on it? That's precisely what Africa did. Right. So when you look at the chevron pattern, it's very artistic. It carries the element of beauty. Why? Because of repetition, which is one of the elements of African aesthetics. It has that balance, it has symmetry. Visually, you enjoy watching the chevron design. But it carries also. I know some people will see the beauty, but there is something more fundamental. And here we refer to the flags of 3 nations.
Okay.
South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Mozambique. Fortunately, I brought along the flag of the South African flag. I couldn't get a small Zimbabwean flag. Now, in Zimbabwe, we tend to talk about the colors. Black for this, red for that, white for that, green for this, or gold for that. Then we forget what I consider the more fundamental, the more important representation, and that is the triangle. Today we are talking about the triangle, the unit, which is chevron. And you see it on its boundary there is marked by the yellow color. In the case of Zimbabwe, you also have it. Mozambique, you have it. But what some people may not see, then they will always, when I talk about this, they say, you have a pornographic mind. Now, the triangle, I said, is the body of a woman. But this part, which is a kind of a rod, cylindrical, is male. So what is being represented on the South African flag, I hope they know it. And that is true also in terms of the Zimbabwean flag, is sexual reproduction. But some people don't see it. What that means is sustenance. Usually, what these countries have in common is the struggle, a sustained armed liberation struggle. Sudan has it. And you look at the PLO, Palestine has it. So this is sustenance. Coming from that same idea where continuity of the species is guaranteed by the body of a woman. It takes place within her womb. And in this flag, this was captured. Unfortunately, it has been lost to some of us. And you look at the Zimbabwe bird. I've said, the Zimbabwe bird, when I look at it, I say, this is one of the highest forms of artistic expression. To some people, if we explain it, if I were to interpret it, they'll see pornography. But then I say, who didn't come out of pornography? Was it not pornography that created us? And did we not come out of pornography? If you are so obsessed with ideas of pornography. Art has the ability and capacity to deal with the issues that are otherwise would remain under the tongue. Through song, you can express ideas. You look at they would say that to King Lopemule. They are telling him you are a killer. But because it was said through the medium of poetry, who enjoyed a poetic license, you were not killed. So through the Zimbabwe bird, that art form for me is just outstanding. It's something out of this world. Somebody creates something, looks like a bird, but it's not a bird. It carries that idea of continuity. You look at the neck, but the neck, that cylindrical, it's a neck. But it's not a neck, it's a representation of a neck. Then I was teaching these students from United College of Education. Then I said the wing. So the artist had two baskets. A basket with genitalia of a woman and another basket with a genitalia of a man.
Okay.
Now you wanted to deceive the world and think it's a bird. And true, this is why we've inquired whether it's a chapungu or it's a hungwe. Yeah, but it's neither of those birds. It's a bird. It may look like a dove, which is our bird as Nyati people. But then I said to them, yeah, and the wings, from which basket? Then one lady simply did that. I said, yeah, she can see. This is how it was crafted. I mean, I could talk about the Zimbabwe bird. There are professors who have said, but look at the number of its toes. It's not the number of the toes. They're not called toes, but let's call them toes. In a bird. Now, and when you look at the chest of that bird, it has got a demarcation here. Which will tell you actually what you are looking at, they are buttocks. They are buttocks and not the chest. A bird has no chest that is a division. If you look at the bird, whether it's a hungwe or chapungu or any other bird, it would all be smooth. That's the chest. But that is art. That is the power of art. That is the power of art. Its ability to traverse a field, a terrain that some people would regard as pornographic. Art knows no pornography. It will say anything. This is why when there is a new message that we want to convey, we ask artists to convey the message.
So Baba, just one question that I would ask you to answer as quickly as possible. In nature, we've seen that the chevron is coming from the woman, depicting the womb. But in what other animals or trees can we find even the chevron?
You will find it, for example, in the crocodile.
Okay.
The crocodile, I've called a crocodile a chevron animal. You look at the shape of its head, you look at the shape of its teeth, it opens its mouth, you look at the shape, as long as you understand, not chevron pattern, but a chevron motif, the chevron icon. You look at its legs, that angle, it will be a chevron. So if it is a chevron animal, it means it is depicting, symbolizing continuity. This is why you find it at Great Zimbabwe. This is why you find it on the Zimbabwe bird. You will find the bird and you will find the circles, you will find the chevron, you will find also on the pedestal the crocodile.
Okay.
And among the Wapfumbi of Beitbridge, when their chief dies, they keep him until he rots so that they get the stone. The stone that originally was extracted from the belly of a crocodile. So that stone was infused with this element's idea of eternity, continuity, endlessness. But what now must carry that is this Ngwenya, they are Ngwenya people. Then these Ngwenya people, their chieftainship must go on and on and on and on. That's the idea of continuity as expressed through the lineage of the chiefs. And that further indicated by the stone from a chevron animal, from a crocodile.
Thank you.
African theology, African heritage is fascinating.
Indeed, African theology and African heritage is indeed fascinating. Today we've learned about the chevron icon, and I'm sure that if you look around you, you're going to see the chevron in different shapes and forms. So please join in on the conversation and let us know what you think about what we spoke about today about the chevron icon. And please do so on our social media handles and use the hashtag that you see on the screen. This is Cultural Expressions and mina nguLady Chawe uMadlodlo.